Board of Commissioners meeting to order at 9 a.m., March 19th, 2019. And would you please call roll?
Fisher Snyder.
Here.
Blazer.
Here.
Twilliger.
Here.
Geisler.
Here.
Dorian.
Here.
Nosen.
Here.
Chairman Bone.
Here.
7 present, 0 absent.
Commissioner Twilliger, would you lead us in the invocation and pledge, please?
Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the task before us today. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decision with impartiality. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for March 5th, 2019.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we approve the minutes.
Support. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, we will approve the minutes for March 5th and March 12th, 2019, and move on to the acceptance of the bills.
Properly addressed general bank claims approved for the week of February 25th through March 1st, 2019, $1,164,266.86, with total general fund expenditures $27,329.68.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the bills.
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, we will pay the bills, and we do not have a special program of the day today, so right now I would move on to public comment on anything that's not on the regular agenda or on the consent agenda. Is there any public comments? Yes, please state your name, your address. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes, and we will not respond. We are not allowed to respond, but we will hear you out.
I understand, thank you. My name is Neil Keeley, I'm at 3213 North Dunwich Drive, Sanford, Michigan, on commonly known as Firstville or Black Creek. I've given Mark a handout on a lawsuit that's pending against Jill Couch, initiated by the Sanford Lake Preservation Association. This lady, along with myself and others, have deeds to the water behind, or the property behind our water, our houses, okay. They're trying to take that away from her. Why did they sue that lady and not me? Well, she's 33 years old, she has 2 children. They probably thought she would cave into them. She didn't. She has a very good lawyer representing him. The lawsuit, if you want to read it, is 41 pages long. That's a long lawsuit. I'm in the process now of getting that from her attorney. And when I do get it, if you guys are interested, I'll supply a copy to Mark. He can make copies and give it to you. You guys can read it. So why did they not sue me? Well, I've been there for 40 years, ex-Marine. They probably thought they're not going to push me around, which is true, they're not. So, but you might want to ask that gentleman right there. He's from Dow. He's never used to losing anything. Why are you going after this lady? Because if they can take control of this piece, they get everything around the lake. So that's basically the end of my comments. You guys all have this. You have a map. Excuse me. And this lawyer, Ellison, is well-versed in riparian rights. He knows who he is. He's dealt with him before. So take some time, read this, ask yourself, why are they suing this lady? Why do they want this property? They want to get control of not only the bottom of the lake, but that. And when this goes to court, this will be a landmark decision. It's never been heard by a Michigan court before. So this could impact every stream and lake in the state of Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Yes, please. State your name and address. Please keep it to 3 minutes or less.
Bill Rickards, 3243 North Lakeside Drive. Neil and I are both neighbors, and I'm concerned with this lawsuit also. It appears to me that potentially SLPA has violated the agreement they have with the county on the purchase of the bottom rights of the lake. There's parts in there where they're to hold harmless adjoining property owners, so you guys might want to take a look at that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Yes, please, same thing, state your name, address. Please keep to 3 minutes or less.
Yes, Rich Milster. My office is at 240 West Main Street. I'm the attorney for Sanford Lake Preservation Association, and on the agenda is our request to pursue this lawsuit against Jill Denton, and I thought I would answer the gentleman's question as to why he wasn't sued or why nobody else was sued. And the reason is that our lawsuit is very specific. It doesn't impact the use of Jill Denton of her land between what would be the eastern boundary of her land and the waters of Sanford Lake. Our lawsuit is very specific, and what she has done is that she has changed the trajectory of her boundary line so that it moves into land which is owned by Sanford Lake, but which at least the usage right should be enjoyed by the the common area of Tri-Cove subdivision, and which is represented by the Leonard Street Association. So there is a lawsuit pending in Circuit Court. Judge Karras has ruled that we need to get the permission of the county to seek quiet title against Jill Denton. But again, it has to do with a triangular portion of land which is to the northerly part of her west to east boundary line. And pictures are easier to look at, I think, than words when you're describing a quiet lawsuit, a quiet title lawsuit. And I do have copies of the survey, and I made copies for all of the commissioners, and I highlighted the disputed portion of land. If the commissioner, the board chair would like me to pass it out or have available for people to look at. And I think my 3 minutes are probably about up now, but a verbal description of real estate disputes is difficult, which is why I brought a copy of the disputed property, which is at issue. And I'm happy to have those passed out.
Point of information.
Where is it?
We had this on the agenda, and I thought this was public comment for anything not on the agenda.
Yeah, it's under new business now, yes. So,
Well, I felt I should respond
Yes.
to his comments as to why
Yeah.
he wasn't being sued.
That's our fault.
yeah, exactly. So actually, it's probably coming up under new business today. So anybody that wants to stick around for that, I mean, it's going to come up. So, and at that point, I would say, yes, probably it would be good to have copies of that too for us to take a look at. They've given us some information here.
Thank you.
Did anybody else have anything? No hands up? I thought I saw a hand.
There's someone else who wants to speak.
Oh, yes, please state your name.
Related to that matter, but I wanted to kind of update the commission just on this FERC motion that Boyce put together with Wolverine. And a couple of things. Wolverine is not the old Wolverine that was here. It's another company and stuff to work through. So just to be clear, we still are in negotiations with Boyce Hydro on acquiring the dam. So there's nothing's changed from the negotiations with Boyce to acquire the lake assets. This is a request by Boyce to look at the power assets, get the license back, and then basically try to operate the power on that dam. And as we've said in public hearings, we haven't seen all the information for that yet, and we're working with Boyce on that, if that's a viable thing for the community. But we did say in the public output into this group that if we support power on the dams, if it's beneficial to both parties, to both Boyce and the community. So we're looking at that. But I wanted to clear up this is not Wolverine buying the dam. And if you look at the motion, actually the land, the assets actually stay with Boyce. And so this is kind of within the model we're working with Boyce on. But then the second piece is we have to evaluate his proposal to FERC and give a response to that. But it'll be with the lens that is good for the community, you know, as well as, you know, all the other stakeholders as well.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Easy for me to say. Any other public comment today? And will you read Standing Committee Report number 1, please?
Dated March 15th, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. We, your Administration Operations Committee, recommend the approval of the First Amendment to the Midland County Fairground lease. The effective date of this amendment is January 1st, 2019, and the lease shall end on December 31st, 2026. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Noson, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the A&O Committee recommends the approval of Agenda Item 107-9-18.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Yes, please state your name and address.
Good morning, Commissioners. Trish Steele, Eastman Road, Larkin Township. Good morning. The Midland Fair Board is pleased to continue the good work of the Society. As an integral part of this community, we celebrate our 81st annual Midland Fair this year. As a destination in Midland that hosts hundreds of events annually, we are also proud to contribute significant economic impact to Midland County. Our event roster is full of wonderful and diverse events in 2019, and we look forward to continuing the mission of the Fair Society. We live our mission every day to support youth, to be advocates for agricultural education, and for improving the quality of life in our community. It continues to be our privilege to serve generations of families, our customers, and our community who have supported us for more than 80 years. We hope that you will join us for the fair, August 11 through 17. I also have comments from the Michigan State Extension Office, as Dee Howe could not be here today. If you allow me, hopefully not beyond my 3 minutes, but Dee Howe, MSU Extension 4-H Program Coordinator for Midland County. She's honored to write a letter of support of extending the lease for the Midland County Fair. The location, the services, and most of all, the people who drive the program are an integral part of the 4-H program for Midland County. Many of the activities are on targeting life skill models, and they are enhanced by programming that takes place at the fairgrounds throughout the year, but most importantly, when youth have a chance to showcase their completed projects during the fair. The Gerstacker Building is an exceptional place for youth to display by club the many new skills that they have learned over the years. The animal barns are well maintained and a safe place for youth to work and care for their animals. And Dee looks forward to many more years with this important partnership between Midland County Fairgrounds and the Midland County 4-H program. And that concludes our comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish. Is there any commissioner discussion? No, Commissioner, and call roll, please.
Commissioner Dorian?
Yes.
Noson?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Blazer?
Yes.
Terwilliger?
Yes.
Geisler?
Yes.
Chairman Bone?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 2, please.
Dated March 15th, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. We, your Administration and Operations Committee, recommend the approval of the Pinecrest Multi-Generational Room Committee selection of Three Rivers Corporation as the design-build contractor for the project. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Noson, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the A&O Committee recommends the adoption of Agenda Item 22-3-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Noson?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Blazer?
Yes.
Terwilliger?
Yes.
Geisler?
Yes.
Dorian?
Yes.
Chairman Bone?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 3, please.
Dated March 15th, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. We, your Administration and Operations Committee, recommend the approval of the amendment to the agreement between the Midland County Sheriff and Advanced Correctional Healthcare Incorporated. This agreement will commence on May 3rd, 2019, and continue for 12 months. We further recommend that the Administrator Controller be authorized to make the necessary budget adjustments. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Noson, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the A&O Committee recommends adoption of Agenda Item 18-3-19.
Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee also recommends adoption of Agenda Item 18-3-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Blazer?
Yes.
Terwilliger?
Yes.
Geisler?
Yes.
Dorian?
Yes.
Noson?
Yes.
Chairman Bone?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 4, please.
Dated March 15th, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen. We, your Administration and Operations Committee, recommend the approval of the grant agreement between the Michigan Community Service Commission, which will provide Midland County with $5,000 to cover the cost of a temporary employee. This employee will be devoted to developing a community recovery plan template. We further recommend that the Administrator Controller be authorized to amend the 2019 budget in an amount that does not exceed $7,000. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, Chairperson, Scott Noson, Eric Dorian, Administration Operations Committee, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, the A&O Committee recommends adoption of agenda item 23-3-19.
Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee also recommends adoption of agenda item 23-3-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Glazer?
Yes.
Twilliger?
Yes.
Geisler?
Yes.
Dorian?
Yes.
Noson?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Chairman Bone?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 5, please.
Dated March 15th, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance Committee, recommend the approval of the Sheriff's request for additional funding in the amount of $23,526.14 for the purchase of a car and body worn in-car and body-worn cameras. It is recommended that this funding come from the general fund surplus. We further recommend that the Administrator Controller be authorized to make the necessary budget adjustments. Respectfully submitted, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of agenda item 19-3-19.
Do we have any public discussion on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Twilliger.
Yes.
Geisler.
Yes.
Dorian.
Yes.
Noson.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Glazer.
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 6, please.
Dated March 15th, 2019, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance Committee, recommend the approval of the trial court administrator's request for additional funding of $1,500 in the 2019 budget to cover expenses related to attending the 2019 Court Technologies Conference. We further recommend the Administrator Controller be authorized to make the necessary budget adjustments. Respectfully submitted, Scott Noson, Chairperson, James Geisler, Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee.
Do we have any Commissioner Noson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of agenda item 20-3-19.
Now, do we have any public discussion or commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Geisler.
Yes.
Dorian.
Yes.
Noson.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Glazer.
Yes.
Twilliger.
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Committee report number 7, please.
Dated March 15th, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Human Services Committee, recommend the approval of a new county policy 404.10 regarding call-in pay for facilities and IT department employees, as submitted by the Human Resources Director. Respectfully submitted, Eric Dorian, Chairperson, Gay Twilliger, Steve Glazer, Human Services Committee.
Commissioner Dorian.
Mr. Chairman, the Human Services Committee recommends adoption of agenda item 21-3-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Dorian.
Yes.
Noson.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Glazer.
Yes.
Twilliger.
Yes.
Geisler.
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Okay, that's it for our standing committee reports today. We do not have any RPCs. We do not have any old business. It looks like there's a couple of items of new business. I would need a motion to bring up those items of new business at this point.
So moved.
Support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Okay, Ann, would you read the first item of new business, please,
1 second, I will.
when you're ready?
Business number 1, dated March 15th, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I recommend the appointment of Fred Yanowski, Public Health Director to the Michigan Association for Local Public Health Boards as a representative for Midland County. Additionally, I recommend the appointment of Eric Dorian, Human Services Chairperson, as the alternate representative. These recommendations are in concurrence with a request from the MALPH Board of Directors. Respectfully submitted, James Geisler, District Number 5, Midland County Board of Commissioners.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the adoption of agenda item 24-3-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Do we have any commissioner discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Okay, new business item number 1 passes, and let's move on to new business item number 2, please.
Dated March 19th, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen, I recommend approval of the tentative agreement between the Midland County Probate 42nd Circuit Court Family Division. No, wait, that's not supposed to read that right now. We only have one item right now.
Okay, we only have one item.
Sorry.
Okay.
When I started, I was like, wait,
There's one more. Okay.
there is one
one more
more?
item, yes.
Yes.
I got nothing.
25-3.
I got one.
I'm just going to read the resolution. There's no committee report.
It's new business, so there is no committee report as of now. Bill, are we okay with that, or what should we do with it?
Well, I think that it can be raised from the floor. If you'd like a committee report, we can put one together quickly. But there's no committee, so it's an
Right,
individual.
so it's not a committee
Commissioner
report.
Raising this matter as new business. Move forward, I was talking to someone. Who raised it? Who raised it?
Pardon?
Who?
I don't think a commissioner,
Commissioner has to bring it.
I make a recommendation to pass the new business number 2, Board of Commissioners of the County of Midland resolution.
Recommend review and
Can-
act.
Bill, I need some advice here.
Yeah.
Look, what do you think the best way to go about this here is?
We've got a resolution proposed by Commissioner Geisler. And now whether it's got to have a second. And then board discussion and action.
so just as a point of
I'm just going to
information-
say that Geisler made a motion to approve the resolution,
Okay.
supported
But
by,
there is no problem from a parliamentary standpoint to bring up new business without it going to committee.
Correct.
Yep.
That's what I understand. So do we have support?
Yes, support.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, so we can read the resolution. Then it will be open, just so everybody knows, it'll be open to public comment again, as well as commissioner discussion on the item.
okay, minutes of a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Midland, Michigan, held at the County Services Building, 220 West Ellsworth, Midland, Michigan, on March 19th, 2019. The following resolution was offered by Commissioner Geisler and supported by Commissioner Dorian. Whereas the county sold property to the Sanford Lake Preservation Association on July 21st, 2015, and amongst the terms and conditions of the sale was the requirement that the county give consent to seek quiet title to in properties adjacent to the impound area, except to maintain the viability of the flowage reservoir impoundment area. And whereas the Sanford Lake Preservation Association has requested to be allowed to maintain an action to quiet title to a portion of land in current dispute, and whereas the county agrees litigation should go forward in order to establish and maintain stability of the property lines adjacent to the impoundment area. Now, therefore it be resolved that the County Board of Commissioners find that in order to protect the integrity of the impound area, commonly known as Sanford Lake, the Sanford Lake Preservation Association is hereby authorized to take action to seek quiet title against the adjacent property owner identified in the current litigation, identified as Midland County Circuit Case Number 18-56-10-CH, be entitled as Sanford Lake Preservation Association et al. Versus Jill M. Denton, AKA Jill Couch et al., and take all actions necessary to preserve impoundment boundaries related to the above described litigation.
Is there any public comment on this at this point? Yes. Please state your name and address.
Dave Kepler, 912 Earl Cove, in Sanford, and Edenville. I just want to give a little global kind of view of this, so there's context to this. Why does Sanford Lake Preservation, I'm speaking on behalf of Sanford Lake Preservation Association, why do we own the land in the first place? There was a tax dispute between Boyce and the county, and the county seized the property from Boyce. That, therefore, lost control of the flowage rights to Boyce and violated his license with FERC, which therefore would put jeopardy in terms of running the lake for lake levels. The county and Boyce could not come to an agreement, so we intervened between to acquire the land. We acquired it we purchased it from the county, and then worked with flowage rights for Boyce to keep that in place. We recognize that the property lines between the owners and the water shore over the years has changed a little bit, and we'd asked the county to put a resolution, which you did, to make sure there was, that you let the citizens know that they would have the same access to the lake as they've had in terms of between them and the water line. So in the agreement with the county, we had a agreement that we would not go in and change property lines and put, and so this whole issue of quiet title by us, we would bring in front of the committee. This scenario was not anticipated, where somebody would basically extend their line into our property, being the SLPA, and claim that as theirs. And so for good order and through the process, we're saying, hey, we need to look at that. The second thing, this is a private road discussion where this is bordered on. And so in most of the places in Sanford, there's associations. And so when they came to us with the dispute between who could get access and how that was structured and where the docks were, we said that was really a private matter for them to resolve. It hasn't been resolved, but then there's this claim now that the boundaries are different, and that's what we're trying to dispute. The point is, we want to keep the lines the same way they've been, and this is not a natural lake, so we're looking at this as a private property with an impoundment that's defined by the federal government, and we don't want to violate that, and we don't want to change that. So we're not taking anything away. We're just recognizing this property that was acquired by the county with the idea of keeping the thing integrity for the whole county should resolve through this. So if there's technical questions, we can come back and answer that on a specific plot line.
Commissioner Glazer, you can ask questions now.
Can I ask a question of Mr.?
You can ask a question of Dave, yeah. Dave,
So-
do you mind answering a question?
Can I direct this, may I direct this to you or whoever? Okay, so we're looking at the diagram.
Yeah, you might.
And I'm looking at the notation. So I see Sanford Lake to the left, west of the property. The seawall, there is a seawall there, correct? That's running north-south?
Yes.
And then we go off on a diagonal about 45 degrees. And so the claim is that that's what the existing property line, along that dotted line. So that's the position that Sanford Lake Preservation Authority would be taking. Am I correct or no? That the dotted line from FNDJAR iron over to the other, let's see, west line of street.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the
correct.
claim.
We believe that's the line.
That's okay.
And what is the property owner claiming?
The property owner claims that they're entitled to everything which the gentleman just said, plus in addition to that, the part that is highlighted in yellow that they're claiming actually adverse possession has to the part that is highlighted in yellow. That is what the property owner, Jill Denton, is claiming. The platted lot is actually, lot 11 has platted, and then when you look toward the Sanford Lake, you see the dash where the lot line is, so the platted lot is actually smaller and then it moves towards Sanford Lake. But what has occurred in this case is that on what would basically be, the top of this page is north, so actually Sanford Lake would be to the west here. What has happened is what I would say is like this northwest cornerstone is the trajectory of the property line has been changed, and they are claiming that triangle, whereas it's our position in court that you can't change the trajectory of your property line. You can just continue it as is to the waters of the lake. And that's what we want to present to Judge Karras. And it would, if every property owner on the cornerstone on their platted lots close to the lake, if every property owner could change the trajectory, then how many other platted lots that are around, you would just, you would multiply that, and we would have, at least in theory, that many disputes, and then the Sanford Lake Preservation Association would be walking. Excuse me.
Commissioner Nelson, we got a few questions. Commissioner Nelson hit his hand up first, and then Commissioner Glazer, and then you, Commissioner Geisler. So, and I think it's important we ask all the questions we want at this point to get these answers straightened out. So please feel free about asking questions.
So it's still pretty confusing. So the property owner owns all of 11, is that correct?
Property owner owns lot 11.
Lot 11. And they are extending that out straight west as opposed to the diagonal.
Yes.
Who owns the property now, or who claims to own the property?
It's part of the common area of Tri-Cove subdivision, and the ownership would reside with the Leonard Street Association, which has incorporated as a subdivision association. It's part of the common area of the subdivision.
Okay, and have any other owners attempted this sort of redistrict or redrawings?
To our knowledge, she's the first one.
We've had requests for people that looked at the lines and said, hey, we'd like to get closer to the water, we'd like to change our lines, and we pointed them back to the resolutions of the county and the commitment not to change lines, and that satisfied their needs. The issue here is brought out that this is adjacent to a road, and so by putting that property line, you can put docks on there that then there's other community folks on that public sector that are arguing that they can't.
Right.
And it's on our property they're arguing where they can put it on. And, so the issue has become is that most places, and Sanford have these common areas, have an association. So when we've addressed things on these public areas, we've been able to go back to their association. So these are really your rules, and you work with this group does not have an association. We asked them to form one to deal with this. They have formed one, but it does not include all the members. And so we're just saying, hey, this is something that the private owners need to manage, but now you're dealing with trying to put access where we now have to kind of defend our property line about who puts things where.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Glazer?
Yeah, so if I may then. So the north-south line of the disputed area, is that on the water as well?
The north?
The north-south line of the triangular, so the left side.
Oh, the south line of the triangle? Or
I'm going to call it the west, so the north-south line there. That goes to the corner of the triangle, okay?
That is.
Is that on the water?
Very, very close, yes.
Okay, very close. And then, just for my clarification then, the yellow area is owned, at least the claim is, that would be owned property by the common area of the association.
Well, it's actually, the title to that is actually still within Sanford Lake Preservation Association, but the usage would be with the Leonard Street Association.
Okay.
So this is the issue where the property lines don't line up to the lake.
Okay.
And so now you're kind of going at our line where we're limiting the access of other people for the one member.
I see, okay.
Because it extends in what would be considered to be the common area. private road area of the
Okay.
tri-cove subdivision.
Commissioner Geisler.
I'm not a lawyer, but I know a little bit about adverse possession. And I didn't think that you could use adverse possession against a governmental unit.
You can't, but that's not stopping her from claiming it at this point in the lawsuit. And it's our position in the lawsuit that the tax foreclosure process eliminated the adverse possession claim. But before we can get to the judge to rule on that, we have to have the court's permission from the county that, because the theory is quiet title ejectment.
Okay. And the other thing is, what is quiet title?
Well, quiet, in this particular case, she is claiming it's where you are, quiet title is where you are claiming interest in property which you do not have record title to, and you are claiming interest in that because you have possessed that notoriously and continuously for 15 years, holding it out to everybody that you are claiming that to that property. That's what adverse possession is. It's not, so it's claiming title to property not of record. Your deed is of record, quiet title is not of record.
Commissioner Snyder.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I live in Edenville Township, and I've been to a few of the township meetings in the last couple of years, and they've been dealing with this. So I've talked to a number of the constituents and elected leaders in the community, and myself just being involved, and I do feel comfortable with Judge Karras sorting this out because we do have some of these issues on the lake, and it's an unfortunate situation, but I've done the research and been involved directly at the township meetings and listened to the constituents come, and it is something that needs to be sorted out, and Judge Karras, I believe, would do a good job with that. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any more? Yes,
Just-
Commissioner
just-
Glazer,
just
then
one-
Commissioner Nelson.
one Last. So at this point, the point of inflection where it's going now due west,
Yes.
it's marked, there's a dotted line continuing down diagonally more to the southwest along the southern boundary of the property with the annotation lot line. So that would be the deed description?
Yes, that's the deed description.
Okay, and then because of using the property out to the waterfront where the seawall is, there's no dispute, or, okay, I'm gonna make a claim. There's no dispute about this property owner using or claiming that land in addition to what is on their title. The dispute is now over this, extending it into this triangulated area.
Correct.
All right.
That fits in the view of able to access it because
Okay.
they've had it, like every lake owner has.
All right, okay.
Commissioner Nelson and then Snyder.
So I'm still not sure why this is a county action.
Because of paragraph 3D, Judge Karras ruled on in paragraph 3D for us to pursue this, we have to get the county's permission. It was just a contract.
We don't own the land.
No, but
We
it's
don't contract.
the parts that you don't
There's
own the
no
land is not in the deed, but there was a contract between the county and the SLPA that if we made any changes, we would consult the county out of an abundance of making sure that you knew what we were doing.
Any changes to what?
To property lines, for title. So we didn't, the concern we were trying to prevent was we did not want to change the property lines, and we wanted the community to enjoy the lake levels as they have. And so we didn't want to buy it and have a view that we could just arbitrarily change that. It wasn't in the anticipation that they would come in and take, invert that, but we, so now we have to kind of defend that line, and we need to come to by contract, by the purchase contract, come to the county and have permission, and it was deemed that it should come to this body.
Okay, so I was under the understanding that the contract between the county and the Sanford Preservation Group had to do with the bottomlands. Well, that's not bottomland, that's actual land.
In general, it does, I think, to a large degree, but under paragraph 3D, it does specifically state that for the Sanford Lake Preservation Society to take any action against property owners of lands adjacent, then we have to cover the county.
Right.
Agree.
Counselor.
It's just, we're just, as Judge Kara said, we have to follow 3D in this case.
Mr. Chairman.
Explanation. So, the property that constitutes the bottomland was not a natural boundary. It was a series of rectangles and other descriptions that, by the time the dam was created, the bottom land of the reservoir does not encompass all the land that was owned by the company. Therefore, some of the surface of the water does not go all the way to the edge of the ownership. When the county conveyed the property, the county took the property by foreclosure, and when the county conveyed it to the SLPA, prior to that time, the county had assured the public who lived on Sanford Lake that the county was not interested in enforcing the various encroachments and other actions that might have been adverse to the actual ownership of the land, that we were not going to impose our will or the strict structure of the law upon their property, their residences. And so we incorporated that into the purchase and sale agreement between the county and the SLPA.
Okay.
And in addition to that, we provided that that provision would carry forth beyond the sale of the property, which occurred in 2015. That's what the judge ruled on. That's why we're here today, to give permission for SLPA to actually allow the court to determine the scope and events of this title, called quiet title action. And it's not just for adverse possession, but for other reasons. The court's going to determine who has title to this disputed piece of property once and for all.
So, and then I'll get to you, but basically what we're doing here today, it sounds like, is deciding whether it gets to go to court or
Right,
whether
we're
it
not taking a
doesn't.
position
And I don't
on it.
think that we should be the ones to say a case can't go to court, in my opinion, but yes, so we're just giving the authority to determine who's right, who's wrong.
You've heard from someone else here today who says
Yep.
the opposite, but that's not our decision, that's the
Court's decision. Commissioner Glazer, and you guys are welcome to get up and talk anytime you want also, so I'm going to call on Commissioner Glazer.
And Mr. Chairman, I think the nut of it all is, because there is no association that exists representing the people who live in the Tri-Cove subdivision, the injury is to those other people who have access to the water because of the common area of that subdivision, and because there's no association to defend itself, you're acting in effect in their behalf, or in the behalf of those residents, because the claim is being made against a common area that those other residents would otherwise enjoy, and there's nobody to defend them, and so that's in effect what you're taking up. Is that correct?
The one point of clarity is when we started, there wasn't an association. We asked them to put one together. Some of the citizens did form an association. There's not consensus between the citizens in that thing about who, they still don't have consensus on it between the two groups. So we're just trying to make sure we kind of follow the rules here and just keep it consistent.
Commissioner Nelson.
It was my turn.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Snyder, it's hard to keep track.
It's okay, I'll help you out. So that's why I said I just want the judge to sort it out, because they will look at the lines and they will decide. And this is an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. And for the Four Lakes Task Force to go forward and protect the lake and our constituents, I believe it's okay to allow this to go to court. They're not trying to hurt the people that live around the lake. They're just trying to sort out the law. And so I'm okay with approving that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Nelson.
I get it now. I understand why the county's involved. Could somebody else be representing, I guess, your interests? When I heard you were acting on behalf of somebody else.
Well, we're acting on behalf of the Sanford Lake Preservation Association.
And you have a right to act, and
we have
only
the
you
right
have
to
a
do
right to
that,
act.
yes. And it's around this boundary that we've defined and that we've agreed with the county to work on. Now, what happened, just so we kind of explain it, since anytime there's a dispute here on anything in the county that has these common areas, they see SLPA on there and they come to us and say, can you sort this out for us? And we basically say, hey, this, we're not a government entity, this is private property, and if you have an issue with us, if we did in this case, then file a quick claim and go at it. But we have tried to work with people to kind of address that and not position ourselves as a authority to kind of deal with private property issues. But we've tried to keep true to what we said we would manage for the county, on behalf of the kind of citizens there to do. So this happens 2 or 3 times a year where somebody's didn't like the way, look at our property and somebody put something on the property and they want us to kind of call on it. And this one just got contentious because normally we just point them back. Either they're individuals that own property and we can work it out in an understanding way, or it's an association, we ask them to come back and represent their group. In this case, we just haven't been able to do that. And so we're saying, well, we just can't let it stand. We have to kind of go in and get clarity on this so we can move forward.
So I just want to be clear that you and you alone have standing to represent this case.
On this issue, yes.
Okay.
Is there any other commissioner questions for Dave or Rich? No. I see none. Is there any other public comment? Anybody else? Yes, please feel free to come up, state your name and address. And
Bill Rickards, 3243 North Lakeside Drive. I contend that SLPA does not have the right to do this based on the agreement that the county made with them, and I'll read it from the Midland Daily News. There's a requirement for SLPA to leave existing property owners as they are without taking any action against them to secure relief from any encroachment that might exist in property lines. And I would suggest to the county that if you're going to undertake this thing, that you're going to have to rewrite that agreement with SLPA, that you're voiding the agreement by taking this resolution forward. And they are prohibited from doing this.
would you read that one more time, please?
Sure. Requirement for SLPA to leave existing property owners as they are without taking any action against them to secure relief from any encroachment that might exist in property lines. And the other thing is that I myself live on Saxton Point, which is exactly the kind of thing that this agreement talked about, irregular shaped property. And there's probably 10 accesses, dock walks in our association, and we're not an active association. And this is, you do not want to open this can of worms, I'm telling you. So you might want to think seriously about it. And I contend they don't have the right to entertain this.
Commissioner, Counselor, please.
Just so the court's aware. My old habit, yeah. Just so the commission is aware, the document speaks for itself. Midland Daily News is a summary document. It doesn't provide any authority for anything.
That was not a quote from the document.
Not a quote from our document.
Okay.
Our document speaks for itself and requires only that the county give permission for SLPA to secure the definition of the property lines. And that's what we're doing here this morning. Or that's what is before you this morning. An individual such as this gentleman has every right to join that lawsuit on behalf of one party or another if he wishes to. The documents here speak for themselves, and I think the board has been appraised sufficiently this morning about what their action means.
Commissioner Nosen?
Yeah, do we have an opportunity for commissioner comments? Or?
We're in commissioner discussion right now on this, so.
Well, I just want to say I'm no real estate expert or anything like that. I think the action before us is to let the experts go figure this out. And so I'm all in favor of that. I think Judge Karras is probably making a wise decision here. And I don't know who's right or wrong. I see the points. Let's let the legal system work.
I completely agree. We have a court system, and for us to block something from going to court, I think would be, in my opinion, is wrong. There's a reason we have a court system. So let's let the experts figure it out. Any other commissioner discussion? Yes.
just have a couple of questions here.
I'm a little confused like he was on this. Neil Keeley, 3213 Douglas Drive, Sanford. On the yellow triangle, now does her seawall go clear up to the north end?
You need to direct.
Rich, would you be able to answer that, please? Or somebody?
I might, that the discussion that this gentleman can have with Mr. Milster is not really a question this board can answer.
It really isn't. You're right. We're just,
Okay, well, I got a question you guys can answer.
okay, please go ahead, Neil.
I'll get that from her attorney. But if you guys take control of the dam, okay, have you considered terrorists that could blow that dam? I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. Excuse me. Have you got any early warning systems going in on these dams if they shake or whatever, so people get notified of that? Just something you might want to think about.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. It's a constantly changing animal, this, but we will keep those thoughts in mind. Is there any other commissioner discussion, public comment? It all kind of mixed together, but if everybody is ready, let's call roll. I see everybody seems ready, so Ann, call roll, please.
Commissioner Nosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Glazer,
Yes.
Twilliger,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Dorian,
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That is it for new business, I hope. And
Move to adjourn and move into,
we actually, we're
closed
gonna
session.
do commissioner comments first,
Oh.
commissioner meeting schedule, and then we'll go into closed session.
okay.
So I'm going to start with commissioner comments right now, and I will start with Commissioner Snyder.
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate our team here. I appreciate the research that's been done in the Four Lakes Task Force and helping to save our lake and just looking to the best interest of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Glazer.
I have no additional comments.
Commissioner Twilliger.
Would agree with Commissioner Snyder that I appreciate all the dialogue today, and I appreciate all of your gentlemen's comments. I look for the transparency and the authentic information to continue, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Geisler.
No comment.
Commissioner Dorian.
No comment.
Commissioner Nosen.
No comment.
And I will go with no comment too, and move on to commissioner meeting schedule and start with Commissioner Snyder.
Is this going up until the 2nd?
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it actually.
Actually, the,
Yeah,
Sorry,
actually the
I
night,
led you
yes.
astray.
Ooh, that changes my,
Thursday, the 21st, I'm going to attend the road commission. And I have Parks and Rec on the 3rd. Depending on what happens at the first road commission meeting, I may attend the road commission meeting on the 4th. And then the Village of Sanford on the evening of Monday, 8th. And that is it.
thank you. Commissioner Glazer.
My wife and I are headed out of town beginning this weekend to visit family in Georgia, and we will be back the weekend of April 6th, so I will not be attending anything until Monday, the 8th of April. Lee Township in the evening, Human Services is scheduled in the afternoon of that Monday, and that's it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Glazer. Commissioner Twilliger.
Yes, I will not be attending anything until April 8th, and at that evening, I will have Ingersoll and Mount Haley. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Geisler.
April 9th, Tuesday, at 9 o'clock, Executive Committee in this room. And in the afternoon of the 9th, A&O at 2:30.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorian.
I have Safety Committee meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the 3rd floor conference room. I have EMS Advisory Board on Wednesday, the 27th at 3:45, I assume in this room. And then Human Services is scheduled to meet on April 8th, which is a Monday at 2 o'clock in the first floor conference room, and that is all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Nosen?
Yeah, this afternoon, I have a Water Asset Management Council meeting at 1 o'clock in Lansing. There is also another one on the 28th at 9:30 in Lansing. Tomorrow, I have a community health assessment CHI meeting and CHIP, 8:15 and 9 o'clock. Also have a retiree board fund meeting at 9 o'clock, and I believe we'll still go with the same program with the retiree health care meeting right after Act 345.
This is a special meeting for the retirement board only.
Oh.
It'll only going to take about 10, 15 minutes at the most.
That's even better,
9 o'clock tomorrow.
because then I can go
9
to
o'clock
health.
tomorrow.
Yeah, you should have all
services
gotten a
at-
notice. 9 o'clock tomorrow, there's a retirement board meeting.
Okay,
It should take 10, 15 minutes at the utmost.
that's perfect.
I didn't see it.
9
Okay,
o'clock
then,
tomorrow morning.
I am going to the
You're not on the
MAC.
board. You're not on the retirement board.
Well, it sounded like you did.
Yeah, it did
refer
sound
that.
like you said everyone.
Yeah, you did say it.
Everybody on the board.
Everyone on the board, as in Nosen, Geisler, Bone.
Okay.
I can't hear anything today.
All right, continuing on, I do have the MAC Legislative Conference where I'm also running for the open seat, and Mr. Geisler has kindly agreed to help. He's my campaign manager.
Yes, all the
The man.
I know it.
I'm not cheap either.
MAC Finance meetings on the 5th in Lansing at 10 a.m. And then just a final note, on the 9th, I will not be here for the Executive Committee Finance or A&O meetings. So we'll need to get appropriate representation for Finance and A&O.
I will.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a retirement board tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I also have on April, I just had it up, April 3rd, I have a new committee I'm sitting on called Vision 2030. It's kind of a look to what Midland looks like in the future. That is April 3rd at 11:30 a.m. I'll be attending that. And that is all I have with spring break coming up. It's a little slow on meetings.
Yeah.
So with that, I now would take a motion to go into closed session from somebody.
So moved. Support.
Okay, and we are going to go into closed session to discuss labor negotiations. So we have support. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Okay, we are now going into closed session. If we want to take a 2-minute break, we can do that. Start immediately at 10 according to that clock right there. Back on, so I take a motion at this point.
Move to go back into open session following labor negotiations.
Do we have support?
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. And would you read one more item of new business for us, please?
1 second, and I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dated March 19th, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I recommend approval of the tentative agreement between the Midland County Probate 42nd Circuit Court Family Division and the United Steelworkers, AFL-CIO CLC, and its local union number 12075-01 USW, and the County of Midland, effective March 19th, 2019. The union has informed us their membership has ratified this agreement. Respectfully submitted, Eric Dorian, Midland County Board of Commissioners, District Number 6.
Commissioner Dorian?
Move to approve the contract between probate and 42nd Circuit Court.
Do we have any public comment? Do we have any commissioner discussion? And call roll, please.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Glazer?
Yes.
Twilliger? Geisler?
Here.
Dorian?
Yes.
Noson?
Yes.
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 Yes, I'm here.
Noson, Chairman Bone.
Yes.
All right, 6 yes, 1 absent. Motion carries.
That is the end of our business.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye. Well, do we have support, first of all? You did support it? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. This meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, April 9th, 2019, at 9 a.m. to meet in a regular session of the Board of Commissioners and for the committees to resume their duties. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Mark, are we going to have
Largest contract.
the Board of Commissioners and the executive?
I think it was